In this video, I'm talking about how to manage worry for better mental health, and I'll be sharing 5 simple tips that you can put into practice immediately. So get comfortable and let's talk about better mental health. Hello and welcome, I'm Jeremy Godwin, and in this episode of Better Mental Health, I'm going to share a few of the practical tips that I discussed in my recent Let's Talk About Mental Health podcast episode about managing worry. By the way, my weekly podcast episodes run for only about 25 minutes, so if you'd like even more practical advice for better mental health, then check that out after you've watched this video. It's linked in the description below. Let me begin by saying that worry is absolutely, categorically wasted energy. Why? Because it's just not constructive, and I guarantee you that most of the worries and concerns that you have just will never come true. I hate to break it to you, but you're not a fortune teller. The thing about worry is that it takes you out of solution mode and into problem mode, which only serves to keep you feeling stuck in problem mode. And don't even get me started on how awful it feels when you realize how much you're worrying about stuff, and then you start to worry about worrying, because that's the point where it feels like your head may possibly explode. Instead of focusing all of your energy and attention on problems, turn your focus to solutions instead. And when you do that, you'll see that your outlook begins to change. Because what you focus on is what you focus on. So, let's talk about my first tip. Pause and breathe. When your emotions are triggered, you can go into instinctive reaction mode. And the challenge with that is that it often creates a mess. Emotions are important, but they're not always telling you the truth. So it's about balancing emotions with your rational mind. So if you pause and gently breathe for at least 10 seconds when you're feeling worried, you allow time for your rational mind to kick in so that you can make a more considered, thoughtful, and balanced decision about how to respond. Next, write it down. When you're feeling worried and anxious, that nervous energy needs to go somewhere. So instead of just letting it bounce around in your mind, write it out. And I recommend going old school and using actual pen and paper to do this instead of your phone, because it's a lot more tactile and it helps to physically channel that energy out of your mind. Don't worry about what you're writing, just write and write and write and write and write until you eventually run out of steam, and then take a break. And you don't even need to look at what you've written, which makes it much easier to write whatever you need to write to get that irrational energy out of your mind. And bonus points for tossing out what you've written as a means of letting go of that worried energy. The whole point is about getting it out. Tip 3, ask yourself, are these thoughts actually helping me? Because I can almost guarantee you that in nearly every case, the answer to that question is going to be no. And here's why. Worry is not rational because it is problem-focused rather than solution-focused. And so that means that if you're in a cycle of worry, then all those thoughts are doing is keeping you stuck in worry. Choose to step back from your thoughts and observe them for what they are. Thoughts, not facts. And when you consider if those thoughts are helping you, then you begin to be more objective about them. And that takes away any power they may have over you. Next, focus on solutions. Because when you focus just on the problem, what you tend to find are more problems. Why? Because like I said before, what you focus on is what you focus on. I know it's a bit mind-blowing, that one, and when you sit and think about it for a bit, you realize just how much your mindset and what you focus on influences your thoughts and feelings. Worry usually involves looking at problems over and over again, whether they're actual problems or just possible problems that you're worried about. And that cycle just isn't helpful. So instead, grab a notebook and pen and start brainstorming potential solutions to whatever the issue is that you're feeling worried about. The more you focus on solutions, the more solutions you will find to focus on. And tip 5 is focus on what is within your control. You can only control what you choose to do and say, along with what you choose to do with your feelings. Everything else is completely out of your direct control, including the words and actions of other people. Yes, you can influence other people and events, but you cannot control them. Reminding yourself of that fundamental truth and looking at the situation objectively so that you can label whatever you're worrying about as either within your control or not within your control, that helps you to turn your attention back to solution mode that I talked about before. That's it for this episode. Let me know in the comments below what works for you when it comes to managing worry, and if you'd like to explore this topic even further, then check out episode 95 of the Let's Talk About Mental Health podcast. It's available on all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. Plus, you can also find all of my past episodes at letstalkaboutmentalhealth.com.au. If you'd like even more practical advice for better mental health, then check out this video next, and click here to subscribe to my channel, where I share new videos every week, full of ways that you can improve your mental health and well-being. Because better mental health begins with what you choose to do today. Thanks so much for joining me. Take care and talk to you next time.